Hello, folks. Welcome to Pro Trader Strategies. My name's Eric Wilkinson, and this is Spotting the Trade. I'm going to get you what you need to know before you go. That starts out with talking about the economic data, see how that impacts the overall markets with a little market analysis, maybe sprinkle in some geopolitical fodder in there to round off our analysis, and then talk about some option strategies we could implement into a portfolio based on those assumptions we come up with. All right. So let's get on with it. It's going to be a pretty light week this week, folks, for economic data. What everybody's going to be looking for is directionality coming from earnings. And something to note here, we were talking about the yield curve inversion where the twos interest rates versus the tens inverting. Well, that's pretty locked down. Now, it's not going to tell us exactly when the timing is, but one of the things that we're going to be looking for with that number is that it's signaling a recession. Maybe not necessarily in 2022, but definitely looking like 2023 is setting up for a recession. What does that do about the Fed's increasing interest rates? Probably going to slow them down, folks. We're probably not seeing those 50s. It's probably going to be closer to 25s now, incrementally moving higher there. Crude oil. We got crude oil right now making those moves to the upside. Something to note with the markets today, not really going to drive crude oil so much, but one of the things that is going to be driving equities today is Elon Musk revealing that he has purchased a significant stake in Twitter. So we'll talk about that here in a moment. We've got bonds still hanging down there. Again, any rip to the upside, folks, would be the opportunity to look to cover calls. Gold futures on Friday broke down below the trend channel here. Now, it was acting pretty nice as a support area. Right now, everybody's just looking in at that 1923 line in the sand. That's where the previous high was from the financial crisis. So that is more of a line in the sand than probably my trend channel. That is pretty wanky anyway. But we can see that it has acted as support. More looking at this 1923 to hold on. Bitcoin has gotten above the 200-day simple moving average here, folks, but it's right at the point of control. That's the thing I'm going to be looking at because that's where time and volume has been spent. I don't think it'll make that 200-day act as a support and resistance as much because we are right there at this point of control. Remember, that's where people have transacted. And if you've transacted a lot at the same price, think about it. If you've seen that price, you don't really feel like you need to buy that price again. So that's what we're seeing here in a lot of the markets, not even just the Bitcoin. We're seeing this happen in a lot of markets where we've gotten around that point of control. We've got VIX trying to decide what it wants to do because we're not out of the woods yet with the equities. While we're sitting here at the point of controls for instance, here in NASDAQ, again, folks are going to be looking at support and resistances here, but the NASDAQ lining up with the point of control, that's where people have transacted. That's where they're going to be comfortable. I think that we'll settle down here, especially with all we have really right now, folks, to drive these markets is geopolitical news and the earnings that we're going to be getting out right now. So that's the only thing that can really push this market. And that's something that usually doesn't make the markets really have massive moves. So if there's anything that's going to be going on here, I think the risk is to the downside with some of these earnings. So be weary, be looking for adding protection to your portfolio through this time. Dow Jones Industrial Average, again, folks, what are we talking about? We're at the point of control. We need a real kick in the pants to get out of these areas. Now, E-mini S&Ps, while it's extended a little bit to the upside, we talked about this. It was going to be the one where there was some value to be had, where the rest of the market, say, for instance, the NASDAQ, we saw with the FANG stocks really start to make that correction. Well, we talked about that several months ago, where we were going to see more of an exacerbated move to the downside in things like NASDAQ, and the place to find value would be in the E-mini S&Ps and the Dow because they didn't have those moves like the rest of them. All right, not really a whole lot of indication here to the equities on the overnight trading, but risk, folks, is to the downside as far as I'm concerned across the board with equities. Still, we aren't out of the woods despite the fact that we've had a nice move to the upside. I think we're going to continue to see some jockeying back and forth there. Now, let's take a look at Twitter. Right now, it is trading. You can see the bid offer up here is almost $10 higher than Friday's settlement on this announcement that Elon Musk is purchasing or has purchased a major stake in Twitter. That's driving Twitter higher. Why? Because it's been considered very left-leaning. Now with Elon Musk getting in there, it seems that folks are thinking, hey, there's going to be at least a conservative aspect to this platform where those folks won't be put in a penalty box maybe as much, because there's going to be more of both sides of the aisle, if you will, at Twitter now. With that said, Twitter being up $10, probably looking like it's got some upside potential here in this market. Now, what is happening to Tesla? Not really a whole lot. It's up about $10, as you can see right now on the opening, maybe $5 only. That's not really going to be the thing that makes this market move. We're going to be looking at Twitter for the upside potential there with that $10 move to the upside. I think that Twitter will probably continue. I'd look for a pullback though. First news, I would look to sell it, but look for a pullback here and an opportunity to buy in Twitter, not necessarily Tesla. Let's look at Twitter on that. So that would be the trade I'd be looking for, but look for a little bit of a pullback, because like I said, on a $10 pop right off the bat, there's going to be folks that have been dying to get out of this trade. All right. So that's all I got for you guys. Hope you had a great weekend. Check us out. Make sure you like and subscribe to the bell, because the bell is what gives you an indication when I pop in here and unannounced. I see some folks are a little bit late to the game, so make sure you're announced. Got that like button and the subscribe. All right, that's all I got. If you can't take that, take it easy.